Exactly 2 years on from the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, the qualification process has begun for the next one in 2026, which will be held across 3 countries. The expanded 48-team tournament provides potential for nations to make it to their first ever World Cup. So, who is in the box seat to make an appearance, and who may be left behind? Hello and welcome to Football Now from the Al Bayt Stadium in Qatar. It was in this very stadium 2 years ago now that Qatar hosted the iconic opening ceremony for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. With just 18 months to go until the next edition, attentions have now shifted to 2026 and there are already qualifying matches underway in most confederations. There is still everything to play for, so let's take a look at some of the stories so far. Here in Asia, 4 teams went unbeaten in the first 4 games of AFC World Cup qualifying matches. Continental heavyweights Iran, South Korea and Japan. The surprise 4th team on this list is Uzbekistan, who are placed 58th in FIFA's world rankings and have never qualified for the tournament before. After winning the Asian Cup back in February, Qatar's bid to qualify again for the World Cup has faltered so far. All is not lost, but what is causing the back-to-back Asian champions to stutter in their qualification for 2026?
I think that when you're coming in this group, for example in Asia Cup, this is a completely different tournament. You cannot compare the qualification and the tournament from Asia Cup. In Asia Cup you must win every game, every way. Here you can calculate a little, you must play at home and win outside on draw. This is something what many teams can calculate. We all support these teams to go to the World Cup.
To qualify to the World Cup, it's the level is different, the competition is different, it's not like Asian Cup. The Asian Cup we have 2 weeks preparation before the Asian Cup and we start very good and the things going fast. Each 3-4 days game. Finally we took the trophy and now it's different. We play 2 games, then we come back to the league. So like I say, it was bad start for us.
Let's head to South America now, as Argentina are set to qualify again with ease as they look to defend the title they won here in Qatar. La Albiceleste sit comfortably at the top of the CONMEBOL World Cup qualification table and look likely to be the first team outside of the 3 host nations to secure their place at the 2026 World Cup. Peru are at the bottom, but have key fixtures against Bolivia and Venezuela to come in March as they attempt to propel themselves into the final round of playoffs. Powerhouse Brazil have lost more matches in this qualification campaign than they did in the previous 4 combined. They are still the only nation to make an appearance at every World Cup, but could the unthinkable happen? And could we see a tournament without La Seleção?
If this were any other World Cup, you would be genuinely concerned. But with the expansion to 48, with 6 teams going through automatically, I think Brazil will be fine. If they can get their act together, there are problems producing talent in some positions. There are problems of how they're trying to set up their team, but never write them off, because even if it's restricted to some positions on the field, there is a depth of talent there that if they get it right, and especially in a cup competition, which is all about peaking at the right time and having a little bit of luck along the way, it seems outlandish, the coach saying we will be in the World Cup final in 2026, but I'm not betting against it with my money.
Africa are the confederation who have benefited the most from the expanded World Cup, with an increase from 5 to 9 spots available. AFCON champions Ivory Coast and 2022 World Cup semi-finalist Morocco currently lead their groups. That leaves Sudan, Rwanda and Comoros, all looking to qualify for their first FIFA World Cup. One African heavyweight still struggling though is Nigeria, who are currently in 5th place in Group C. They were runners-up at this year's AFCON, but failing to qualify for the World Cup would be a huge shock. Can the firepower of Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman help to recover their form?
With Nigeria, it's a bit of a weird one because even though they've only lost 1 so far, they've had 3 draws and the draws are not that great in a sense. They have a lot of squad depth right now. They have probably the best striker in Africa, Victor Osimhen, but then they might have the second best striker with Victor Boniface as well. So you have players to build up from. It's just that even though Nigeria is one of the most populous countries in the whole of Africa, they have that mentality where they can just feel like, or they can go to Rwanda or get a result, or they can go to Benin and get a result. But these teams are getting better and better, and it shows how, like, the fact that Rwanda is topping the group right now.
Well, we're having to wait until March for UEFA qualifying to begin, but that doesn't mean there aren't already plenty of stories breaking out across Europe. including England hiring former Chelsea and Bayern Munich coach Thomas Tuchel to replace the departed Gareth Southgate. So can he be the man to win the Three Lions their second ever World Cup, 60 years after their first?
I think they're very different. I think Gareth Southgate, he's not an easy man to follow. Well, obviously the manager plays a key role, especially later on in a tournament when it comes to assessing the opponent and picking the lineup and such. But I think the reason England hasn't won in decades and decades since '66 is more it's in the heads, and it's up to the players. By choosing the right leaders and giving them trust and giving them responsibility on the pitch, he can definitely improve and get closer to that goal of winning a title. But I think if England does not win a title, it won't be his fault, so to speak.
2 years on from the amazing 2022 FIFA World Cup here in Qatar, fans are already eagerly anticipating the next one. Who will you be supporting in the USA, Canada and Mexico? Let us know using the hashtag FootballNow2026 World Cup. That's all we've got time for here from the Al Bayt Stadium in Qatar. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.